We'll see who comes out on top in the end. I'm still anxious to see a Tempest perspective. We haven't got it yet, but I've got my fingers crossed. But right now, we're going to be watching our boy I Am Dar on that conduit class. And this is going to be Crack Knight's perspective going in with one win in their favor so far. And let's see if they can keep it up versus the Knight Raider Z.
Looks like we're watching Dar this time, right?
Dar. Yep, Dar coming in. I'm excited to see what's going on with Dar, but it looks like they did have to reset there. I'm not sure exactly what happened. But Dar is going to be another one of our console players. So he's rocking the Xbox, representing that Microsoft community, you know. And I got to say, Conduit is definitely one of those classes I feel does benefit a bit from the peripheral, the controller. But I think that in these tournaments, in these competitive settings, I don't think the advantage is enough to really win the game for you. So I don't think there's any trouble here. I do think Conduit is a great choice for a console player for sure, because it does not rely on the movement as much as some of the other classes. It has it; it's there if you want it, but you don't need it. It's not a necessity of the class. So yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Conduit has some built-in movement and some advantages, but I think if you are able to play offensively with it, that's your best defense. It's giving somebody what happens when you come into contact with a good conduit in this game is the fight is put on a timer, and you have to win that fight before that timer runs out. Because they're constantly applying damage.
Yep, and I would say it's if you are not covered by line of sight, you're taking damage. So while you're pursuing them, while you're trying to close the gap, use line of sight. When you get really close to them, hope and pray that you kept a cooldown because they're going to hit you with lightning sorcery or something. But yeah, close the gap, use line of sight, keep a cooldown, and just cross your fingers at that point because Conduit's a little bit scary. But definitely
I was wondering if we'd see any Chronos users today. Chronos in a TDM
that would be interesting.
Can be a thing.
Oh yeah, that could be. I was considered a little bit of a trolley choice, but honestly, Big Brain could be Big Brain in one of these lobbies if it's done right. You know, it could be bad. It could be really, really, really strong if you know what you're doing, for sure. All right, we're jumping on into our second match of it's going to be Crack Knights versus the Knight Raider Z. Definitely Knight Raider Z coming in with that last minute substitution. Unfortunately, does lose the first round. Going in for our second one, we're going to be jumping over to the Cracked Knights perspective from Dar. I like to call him Dar because I like it. Don't judge me, okay, you guys. We're gonna go ahead and get this lobby started here in about 5 seconds. And I'm really anxious to see this perspective and to see if Knight Raider Z comes back with a new strategy to be able to counter and kind of figure out how to come back from this deficit here.
So is that what had happened there for anybody who might have missed it? We had a game restart in the beginning. Was it because we had a substitution?
Actually, it wasn't a substitution. I'm not sure exactly. There might have been some technical issues. But they definitely went ahead and restarted that game. Everything. I guess the first one didn't count. But yeah, we're jumping on into it. This is going to be the second match. The first match of Crack Knights versus Knight Raider Z's did count. The one that we saw the scoreboard for, that one did count. But we did get into another match that did not really get started. So that's the one I was talking about to avoid any confusion. Sorry, guys. But let's see what's going on. 3-3 to start it out, or 5-4, I should say. And this match is on, Dav.
Hey, Timmy, I want to catch you up, man. It looks like Dar is using a conduit toxic build with inspired. So he's just trying to build damage.
Big damage, too.
All damage.
Yeah, and the thing about this is the way that he's playing this build and this class, these two gauntlets. I don't think that we're going to see Dar go. I don't think he's going to end with a lot of exiles. I don't think he's going to end with a lot of exiles, and I don't think his intentions are to end with a lot of exiles unless he's going for cleanups. I think right now he wants to stay in safe spots. He wants to deal damage every single time there's a player nearby. and let his teammates come through and secure those kills at the end. That last little bit of lightning, last little bit of conduit damage, we'll get some of those cleanup kills like we saw there. But if I had to guess, he's going to rely on that long range pinging from the conduit gauntlet and a little bit of the spray from the toxic whenever players are a little bit too close. But we'll see how it goes. Moving on
Looks
in, he
like
will
you're
go down
right.
for just a second.
He's maintaining those alleyways and kind of staying a little bit more towards the center. I mean, he lands on the outside here, but I'm sure he's going to quickly get back into the action just to be more of a problem for the other team the entire time.
Exactly. I'm not sure if his plan is to be their opponent, but he is going to definitely be a nuisance. You're 100% right. I think that they're going to get some static electricity down their spine. They're going to get a little bit of the green goo on their toes from time to time, and I think that comes into play big time with what we were talking about in team compositions. There's a role here. It's been created. It's clearly defined, and Dar is going to try his best to take care of the responsibilities of that role. And right now, it's working beautifully. He's coming through with lightning. He's coming through with toxic. Like I said, honestly, he's proven me a little bit wrong with a lot of these secured kills. He is playing the more of the cleanup role, but both mentalities are kind of the same. I don't think that he's going to be the player that's going to be fighting during the entire duration of a fight. He's either going to be cleaning them up or doing a little bit of like sprinkle damage throughout other people fighting. But right now he's getting a lot of those cleanup secure kills, and he's got 4 of them on the way, looking pretty strong.
Well, you can tell he has a plan going into this battle. He had a setup. He definitely is not forgetting to recall as soon as he gets those 3 boons, making max usage of the boons. Yeah, Dar's come back this time, and he's trying to take the dub.
Oh yeah, for sure. They definitely know what they're doing. We see a lot of the same kind of team organization that they had in the previous round. They're playing really, really well together, and they do have an early lead. However, not as much as a lead as I expected, especially against this team that really struggled in that first round and is playing with a last-minute substitution. And you know what? Also, surprisingly, we're on Dust Pool here. I'm not sure. Is this our first Dust Pool of the tournament? I think this is our first Dust Pool, right?
I believe so.
Very nice. I love the aesthetic of this map. And it's very interesting to see. There's a lot of structures, a lot of narrow passageways, a ton of line of sight cover, which in my opinion makes Frost and Lightning a little bit less viable. But
I would say
working.
Dust Bowl. Yeah, I would say Dust Bowl definitely favors the Stone class a little bit compared to other maps.
For sure.
Just having
Stone,
that
toxic.
opening.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we
Our
do
team.
see a bit of that toxic gauntlet coming through for Dar. Why don't you run us through exactly what's going on here, Dad?
I'm just watching Dar keep it cool, and he's still in that same exact spot. So this seems to be where he's going to call home for the rest of the match, so he can make sure he's in and out of all the fights. Has somebody on him, taking the 1v1 and pushing a little farther away from that safe zone, but that inspired.
Oof. Some big damage. And you notice that he is fighting this guy 1v1, but he's also keeping him at arm's length, right? He keeps using that spring step to go backwards and throw out that lightning. He does have the toxic gauntlet, but it looks like he really prefers the lightning gauntlet to do his damage. 6 kills down so far, 6 exiles so far on the scoreboard for Dar here, and he is really coming through and just doing an exhibition with this lightning gauntlet and this toxic gauntlet. Not able to secure the kill yet, but a ton of damage coming out onto that player, and Familiar will eventually fall, as well as Night DayZ in that kill feed. It's going to be a really fun show to watch Dar do his thing. He is staying in this nice little area. He is doing his little cleanup routine, but he's also able to stand toe-to-toe and fight 1v1 when he needs to, going into the recall to make sure he does not end up as another exile on the enemy team, and that's going to be huge.
Yeah, absolutely. Just exciting watching this unfold here today. 54 to 37. We've seen comebacks, though, from bigger deficits than this, so don't give it up yet. Our team here, though, maintaining very good communication and positioning, catching up those kills.
Well-oiled machine, I'd say. They very much know what each other's roles are. They know exactly how to play them and how they work together, and they're not getting distracted. It's really easy to go in with a plan and then when somebody gets punched in the face, they lose all the plan, So it's really, really easy to get distracted to go out, especially if you're getting a lot of kills, to get aggressive and get excited. But you don't see that. You see really a lot of patience, a lot of really nerves of steel here, as they just kind of they know their plan. They've got the playbook written out. They're sticking to it, and it's working right now. Definitely still unfortunate to see the last minute substitution for Night Raiders, but still they're coming through. They're having fun. They're playing a great game, and they're in part of a tournament. So sponsored by Medify and Sector X Gaming, doing such a great job of allowing us to bring the community together and show you guys exactly what Spellbreak is at the highest level. And hopefully you guys enjoy it. Make sure you hop on to Medify and see if you want to get yourself signed up for some classes to get yourself at this level of skill so you can win the next one, y'all.
Absolutely, and that's not to say anything. The variables in this game is one of the most exciting things about it. Just to say on paper, one team looks really, really good. It doesn't mean they're necessarily going to take the dub.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Night Daisy here, who had won, a couple, or at least gotten runner-up in a few local tournaments that I know of, and their team's just maintaining consistency.
Absolutely. Definitely unfortunate. And that's a good point. I do want to make sure that everybody realizes that the players on both teams are very great players. They're definitely at the highest level that the community has to offer. However, I think what this really shows us here in this particular matchup is how important it is to not just be a good Spellbreak player. We talked about it before. It's not just being about good mechanically. There's so much work and thought and energy that goes on in behind the scenes before the tournament starts. These players watch each other's VODs, they review each other's plays, they create compositions, they make sure that it's balanced with elements and offhand choices. There's so much more to competitive Spellbreak than just high level Spellbreak, and this is a huge testament to that, because you see the lack. Well, I don't want to say lack of, but the inability to be able to practice with this last minute sub, and that just is showing. It's definitely showing. It's not over yet. 100% agree that anything could happen here, and there's a lot of opportunities for counterplay. But yeah, it's definitely going to be a show that the before the work that goes in before the match means a lot. And we're joined back with Green Slav Gaming. What's going on, Slav? I'm not sure. He may be muted. I think he might be muted.
I was more technical issues.
Yeah.
Sorry, my internet decided it didn't want to play anymore, so I had to reset that real quick. But I'm back now. Did I miss a lot?
Well, we're just catching you. We'll catch you up real quick. We have a lot of synergy from the team that we're watching here, and it's working out to their advantage. They're just staying together. They obviously had a game plan before they came into this match with classes, as Timmy talked about earlier, wondering if people would play off each other's classes. I think that was happening here a little bit, where it was very much chosen for Dar to play a role, and he's done that job.
I think yeah, as you say, people are choosing classes for good reasons, and with Dar here running tracking, I'm pretty sure Shogun. Well, I know Shogun does in Battle Royale and on our stack nights and whatever, but I don't know whether he's running it too. But having two people with tracking, you've got constant eyes on anyone that you've got hit, and with a conduit there as well, you can just tag someone and then tag somebody else, like literally a minute afterwards, and you've got two eyes in the sky.
Yeah, I don't think there's a better gauntlet to pair tracking with than conduit.
It's so strong, and I'm seeing tracking come into play a lot more, even in like average BRs. It's just to have that extra bit of information is so important, especially when you have a lot of classes that are they're able to reset, they're able to get to positions where you might be surprised that they got there that quick. And with tracking, it kind of lengthens the window that you have where you can see their movement, even if you don't see exactly where they end up. That little bit of tracking, especially if they're not aware they're being tracked, will let you know their intention of movement. So you'll know where they're trying to get to. And it's huge. And not only in solo play, but in huge on team, because not only does it give the entire team that information, it's a way of highlighting a target for focus. So you can all focus the highlighted player, and you don't have to say a word. It's built in. and
Mhm.
that's huge.
It's built in, but we are seeing a lot of communication from this team right now, taking the lead. Currently over 100 points on one side, 107 to 70. Yeah, it's the communication. It's that positioning for sure that seems to be making the difference. We just witnessed this team 3v1ing a situation like a tight knit, well-oiled machine.
Yep.
100%, and it does just come down to a testament of how often that these breakers do play with each other. I know Shogun is always teaming up with Dar and Bully, and again, coming from experience, it's a definite scary team composition to come up against. Like there's no way around it. They just gel together so well.
And that's if y'all take nothing away from the tournament, I just take away that the teamwork that's required here is it's such a different experience. Like you can come to a lot of our channels throughout the week when we're streaming Spellbreak or creating content on YouTube or whatever, and you can see high level Spellbreak played. But when you see an event where players have weeks or a month in advance, they create strategies, they have this crazy communication, and you're seeing the game played at a level that you just can't get to see anywhere else. And right now, SGC is the home for Spellbreak at that level. So make sure you guys are joining up in the Discord so you can get involved with the events coming up. And big shout out GG's to the Cracked Knights. It's going to be Bully, 5 Elders, and KS Dar. And my goodness, 17 for Bully, 15 for Elders, and 12 for Dar. Wow,
Can we also just say that Dar didn't die once?
Dar did not die once, and there were 2 players on the enemy team that did not get any exiles. That was a complete shutout. A little bit unfortunate for the substitution. However, really great showing and good sportsmanship coming out from Night Raiders. They came in, they played their best, they had fun, but in the end, the lack of the preparedness, and they could not be prepared.
No.
It got them. It got them. So
going into competitive Spellbreak, there are so many factors, and we've talked about it time and time again tonight. You could see there, for an example, of one of the last plays we witnessed. It was Dar, and he hit a lightning strike on a player, a lightning sorcery, which opened up Shogun to throw the Toxic Cloud for a guaranteed hit because there was nothing we could do. And that was a call out. I'm sure that was made loud on the mic. That's the difference.
Yep. That capitalizing on your teammates, things what they're able to do is super important, especially with the crowd control mechanic from the conduit. But you guys, we have a bracket. You can see it. It's up on the screen right here, right now. You are looking at your winners so far. We are about to get into our next matches soon. And right now, it looks like our teams that have made it to this point in our tournament is going to be Super Team, Cracked Knights, Gecko's Wet Thigh, and Dumb Ways to Die. This is going to be super exciting. I honestly, this is going so much faster than I expected. It's all so exciting. It's going so quick. And man, we are getting down to the nitty gritty, the final contenders very soon. I can't wait to see what you guys think in the chat. Let us know who you think is going to win. Make sure you're cheering on your favorite players. But wow, the energy in this tournament is awesome, you guys. Davon and Sloth, thank you guys so much for being here and helping me do this casting thing. What are y'all thinking so far?
Oh, mate, it's my absolute pleasure. So no need to thank me, my guy. But honestly, looking at this bracket, it's not how I expected it looking. I expected there to be longer battles. I expected there to be 2-1s at most of these fights, and all of them have been 2-0 wins.
Wow.
That goes to show, though, that we've seen tournaments like this in the Spellbreak tournament, and the beautiful chaos that is Spellbreak always keeps us on our toes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just hope that the losing teams aren't going to take this too much to heart and instead use this to motivate themselves to just keep going and to further improve their abilities as breakers. Because, as I say, this is exactly how my first tournament ended. And I just stuck. I stuck with it. I practiced. I watched other people that did do well in that tournament. I got to know how people play. I got to further perfect my play style, and I'd now feel confident coming back into these games. I don't think I'd win by a long shot. There are some teams in here that scare the absolute crap out of me. But
that's a great thing I want
honestly,
to touch on. Your experience can highlight another thing that we're doing here today is the 1v1 coaching that's offered from Medify, one of our hosts and sponsors here, is what I experienced when I first joined. Coach PK, the first person we happen to have a chance to view this evening, brought me on to my first competition in Spellbreak, and I was so scared. He was so supportive and just an awesome dude overall, and that got me hooked into the game. I wanted to do another tournament, as soon as it came up.
Yeah,
Sure.
and I think we all had the very similar experience, and I think that's the reason why we've been talking about the difference in high level cell break versus competitive. If you guys are great players and you think that you might be one of the best, come into these tournaments, see what it's got going on, and maybe take your game to the next level. And Medify, one of today's sponsors, is definitely one of the best ways to do it. You can go through and hire a coach from Spellbreak right now. There are 3 coaches from Medify. Big shout out to Chaos, Kamsky, and Kyrie Caitlin. If you guys want to go and sign up for a class and start improving your Spellbreak game, sharpening your skills, you can go use our promo code CSL15 to get 15% off of any of your lessons. It's definitely going to be the place to go if you want to learn some Spellbreak from some players that's been playing for a long time. And some of them are even in this tournament right now. I'm looking at Kyrie Caitlin. And I got to say, I'm really excited moving in to see the super team. We saw super team is versus Crack Knights. Honestly, those 2 teams would probably be my first 2 choices. I Crack Knights I thought was going to be a little bit show up, come out of the woodworks a little bit, and impress a lot of people. Because I don't know how many tournaments they'd actually competed in, but I knew they were skilled players and I knew they worked well together. I had no doubt in my mind that Super Team it was going to come through and really perform well. That's going to have our Medify coach on that squad. That's going to be Kyrie Caitlin and Arctic and Newbie. Not only is Kyrie Caitlin one of our Medify coaches, so she's going to have the knowledge of the game at that highest level and the voice to be able to lead her team, but she's also playing with 2 members that she's extremely familiar with, that's been playing together for a long time, Arctic and Newbie. Both incredible players, and you guys are going to get a really great show, and you're going to get to see what you might expect from a Medify coach if you go sign up using that code. It's incredible, and you're really going to see why Medify is the place to go if you're trying to take your game to the next level, for sure.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, that's super
And
exciting. I want to see that match for sure.
Just looking at the bracket real quick as well, go on the subject of the Medify coaching that Kyrie does. We've actually got a master versus apprentice possibility showdown for the next match because Kyrie is on super team. If they win their game, they could go up against Gecko's Wet Thigh, and Thunder Thigh is one of Kyrie's pupils. Thunder Thigh is a testament to just what Medify coaching can do for you.
Wow, yeah, that's going to be exciting. Is a Jedi or a Sith?
That's
I don't know
exactly
which
it.
which one's the student going to come.
It's the Anakin versus Obi-Wan. Whoever has the high ground, we got to be careful.
Yeah. But yeah, this is not only sponsored by Medify, you guys, but we also have a huge sponsor that came through. And honestly, without Sector X Gaming, we probably would not be able to do all of this. Well, actually, we definitely would not be able to do this. So I cannot go without giving a huge shout out to Sector X Gaming and Rogue Yoshi for coming through and letting us use their facility. They are an esports facility. They host tons of events. They do a lot of Smash and other games, and they are doing all that great work on behalf of virtual reality. So make sure you check out Sector X Gaming. They are a big part of why we are able to do what we're doing right now. So big shout out, big thanks to both of our sponsors for coming through. And you guys don't sleep on the sponsors. They're there because they're awesome. Okay.
Can you
imagine
back in the day?
Got our next tourney coming up.
I'm telling
Back in
you
the
guys.
day when you were growing up, could you imagine just something like Sector X? I never thought anything like that would actually be possible. Like it's amazing to see how much gaming has come into the mainstream, that there are actual now full on like real life organizations, brick and mortar organizations that are helping gamers like us run this amazing experience.
We are many.
Yeah, that's
here.
exactly what I was gonna say. Was a lot of this just feels almost automated because they're so professional and they've taken over and given us the ability to speak like this, and it just feels great, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very, very thankful and grateful for all the hard work. But yeah, we're going to be having another tournament coming up, you guys. If you're interested in some more Spellbreak action, you want to get involved, or you just want to make sure that you get your popcorn ready and don't miss out on the next fun time, check out the next tournament, VR solo tournament coming up on May the 28th. It's going to be a little bit different than what you're going to see in these TDM matches, a little bit more of the long play strategy coming in for our players, but is 100% worth getting in that Discord, making sure you join up, hitting the follow button so you don't miss when we go live, and getting involved with our tournaments coming up. And also, if you want to make sure that you can help out with maybe supporting SGC in a bigger way, check out that link, tinyurl.com/SGC crowdfund to help support the prizes in the futures for sure, for sure. Also, if you don't know, Exile Race tournament coming up soon, and I am excited. I'm excited about solos. I'm excited about TDMs, but the Exile Race is basically players coming in, seeing how much damage they can pump out, seeing how cheeky they can get with maybe cleaning up some exiles. But it is going to be to the wall mayhem, and I'm super excited. Make sure you show up April 16th at 4 p.m. For the Exile Race, and the winner takes $100. Sponsored and funded by or ran and funded, I'm sorry, by twitch.tv Oalush. Go check them out. Hit that follow.
That's it. Another member of
Exile
our wonderful
races.
community.
Exile races are amazing for anybody in the chat who hasn't seen them because it's a race for damage, for output, and so people are not letting time go by where they're not doing anything. Like, you have to be on the game to win an exiled race. So that's a very, very exciting thing to watch. Even if you're not planning on getting involved, we would love to have you come by and watch that. It's gonna be awesome.
100%. These are the events that, I mean, TDMs is a great spectacle, and this is what I'm glad that I can be here watching this and commentating over it. But as a player, BR and Kill Race is definitely where I'm at. This is my forte. This is where I'm going to look at really getting involved and having a good old time in there.
Oh yeah, and that's another thing. And speaking of good and having a good old time, he's talking about Discord. He's talking about SGC. If you guys don't know, it's not just about competitive gaming. It's about the community. It's Spellbreak Gaming community. Not only we're going to have XL races, not only we're going to have BR tournaments, not only we're going to have TDM, but for you guys that are familiar with mini games, the old school mini games, which were so fun, where you put all your players into a maze and you let them only use a shockwave or a stone gauntlet, where you put everybody into an arena and they can only use their arcane magic, which we call the noodle, without a gauntlet. There are so many fun ways that you can play this game. Alacrity races, all kinds of stuff. And SGC will be bringing you all that content, whether you're enjoying it as a viewer, whether you're participating it as a player, whether you're grinding so you can participate. SGC is your place for Spellbreak Gaming. And if you're not in it yet, you're doing something wrong. ! SGC in the chat. We'll give you a link to that Discord. I can't wait to see y'all in there. Message me. Say hello.
I've had such a good time hanging out with y'all today. I think we're gonna bring LD back, and I'm gonna step away for a minute. It was a blast hanging out with y'all, and I had a pleasure commentating on what was going down here today. I'll be in chat hanging out.
Yeah.
It's been an honor, Dab.
Later.
Thanks for joining us,
Take care,
Dab.
buddy.
You guys hang out with Dab in the chat.
Oh, welcome back, Elder Gold.
Yo, how's it going on, guys? Oh my god,
buddy.
last two games. Wow. My dog dropped that second game. My gosh, insane stuff on the edge of my seat watching. Yeah, it looks like you guys had fun too.
Oh yeah, man, it was absolute madness. Watching Night Day's team coming out, trying to overcome their last minute substitution and the lack therefore of practice sessions that they've had, and watching Crack Knights and their team composition and their synergy. Yeah. It was something to behold, honestly. It was such a good game.
Yeah, that's it.
Excitement and the energy is just on an uphill. Like every match, every team is just more exciting,